Good Monday morning, everybody. I am Angie Callen, and this is No More Mondays, and I am already having fun to start the week. This is the podcast where we believe you can have a thriving career or business and an amazing life on your terms. And every week, I get to bring you guests who are doing just that. And they're also here to share their real stories, honest insights, and practical mindset shifts that have helped them live and work more authentically. And today's guest is the perfect example, even more than I thought. Wait till we get into this, y'all. Perfect example of everything No More Mondays about. Navid Moosa is a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and someone who lives the freedom life on his own terms. After more than 20 years in real estate investment, he's closed over $1 billion in deals, built a portfolio of 300 doors, and even trademarked his own investment method. And that's not even it. He's got a taco truck, a car dealership, a consulting firm. The list goes on. But here's the kicker. This guy is not a trust funder. That portfolio of success wasn't handed to him. He didn't have big resources. He built his empire from the ground up. How's that for grit? And by figuring out how to use what he had to just get started. So if you've ever felt like you're behind, suffering from the comparison syndrome we all get from social media because you don't have enough time or money to go do the thing, this is going to challenge everything that you have ever thought. And this episode is for you. So without further ado, Navid Moosa, welcome to No More Mondays.
Thank you, Angie. That was a great opening. I appreciate that. That was awesome.
Yeah, we're already having fun. So I want to rewind a minute and let's give everybody a little bit more context on everything from real estate to taco trucks. How did this multi-potentialite life of serial entrepreneurship start for you?
I wish I had like a date, but I can tell you this. I was in the W-2 world. I would pinpoint it to this one moment where there was a promotion that I felt I deserved at a job. But the person who got hired, I ended up training them. So think about that.
Somebody out there just went, oh, I'm not the only one who's been through that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I went for this job. You hired somebody else, but you want me to train them for the job that you didn't pick me for. Yeah, no, let's not do that. Peace out. I'm out.
Yeah.
That was my moment.
On my terms. That was your moment.
That was my moment. Yeah.
Do you think, okay, philosophical, we're going to just go philosophical 3 minutes in. Do you think that you were actually always wired this way and that was like a catalyst or a trigger to just stepping into it?
Absolutely. So my senior year of high school, I didn't graduate. I had to repeat it. And when I went to repeat it, I didn't want to be in school again. I just worked. And at the end of the school year, there was an award ceremony. And I was getting an award for the hardest worker or something like that. I missed the award ceremony because I wanted to work instead. And I did not know I was even getting the award. I had no clue. The very next after that, my counselor pulled me aside and he said, "What's wrong with you?" So what do you mean? He said, "We were giving you an award last night." I said, "Well, no one told me." He said, "It was a surprise. That's why we asked you to take off." I said, "I had to work. I got to get paid." And he was like, "You're 18 years old. You have plenty of life." I'm like, "No, I want to work now." I was like, I want to work now. That was it. So for me, it was never that straight and narrow path. It was like, okay, it was this. The whole life was this, stuff like that. And so, yeah, I've never been wired. I've never been wired the same than my peers. Everyone always said, "You're different. You're different. What's wrong with you? You're not normal." All those things, I'm like, okay.
And now you look back at that and go, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, you're not normal. I was like, you're not normal.
Also, like, what is normal? And this is a really great, I think this is a really great little piece of this conversation that's really relevant, is that there's so many things that we from a society say are normal. And we keep ourselves small and in a box because we think that's what we have to live by. And you're living proof of what happens if you challenge that norm.
Oh, absolutely. So when in my senior year in high school, I got offered a job to work at a bank. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do the regular thing, graduate, go to college, get a degree, all that stuff. So I bounced around. Like I said, I failed my senior year in high school, had to repeat it, and I worked here, worked there. Just for all that, 5 years later, to go work at the same job that was offered to me 5 years ago. So
Wow.
think about that. Yeah, and I'm just like, so I should have been here 5 years ago, but I was like, no, I shied away from what was there for me because the normal was do this. And
Yeah.
yeah, right. So and I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm not making that same mistake twice. I'm not making the same mistake twice. And so I was just like, just go in. If this is what's presented, it's what God wants, rock out. Let's do it.
And so, okay, so where did and so that I like the early life picture, because the mindset was there. You had to, let's say, challenge norms, and challenge constraints.
Yeah.
How did you confidently take steps forward despite those constraints and despite the norms and despite the "what are you crazy" kind of feeling that you're getting or feedback you're getting from around you?
So it was a long path to fight that, right? So the question was, how did I fight it? I fought it a lot, and I consistently did it. So I'm first generation born in this country. My family came from Africa, and so my parents were used to raising, my siblings, their kids, in a particular way in Uganda.
Mhm.
So I was the first Westerner, if you will. They didn't really know how to deal with that, right? So I'm being raised in a household with, you know, African, Ugandan influences, but we're not
Traditional, I'm assuming.
traditional, old school,
Yeah.
traditional grind, work and go, which is fine. But then it was like, hey, we're in America now. We have a lot of opportunity. You should take advantage of those opportunities, stuff like that. I'm like, you're telling me take advantage of opportunities, but you guys aren't showing me. Everybody here is working, 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 working. Right. So it was very hard to like, here's what you're telling me to do, but here's what you're showing me to do. And
Mhm.
then I go to school and my friends are like, what are you doing? And they're going to parties and barbecues and friends' houses. Where we are, what are you doing this weekend? My cousin's house, my uncle's house, my cousin's house. We were just two houses back and forth every single weekend. We didn't like have an outside circle. So that's all I saw, it's all I knew. And it was just, we were just a working class family. We didn't go to sleepovers in friends' house. So when I go to school and I hear people talk about, well, I did a sleepover. I went to a party. I went to this. I'm like, I didn't do that. I was in bed by 10 o'clock. I don't know what to tell you. So that was a battle, right? Like my friends are doing this and here's what you're telling me to do, but here's what you're showing me to do. What's right? What's the right thing to do? And I didn't
Yeah.
know. I honestly legit didn't know what to do. So I was like, F it. I'm just gonna go do what I feel like I gotta go do.
I know.
Let the chips fall where they may.
I'm so curious. Okay, so my there's a lot of parallels there, even though I did not grow up in Uganda. Because and my hi mom and dad, they listen to all my episodes and they're probably going, oh, this sounds a little bit familiar because I also am like a little bit of an odd duck that grew up in an otherwise pretty traditional conservative
Yes.
home in Western Pennsylvania, where my dad was my high school math teacher. I was also not going to parties. We had a very small circle that was our family and not social. And because my dad was a teacher, single income family on a teacher's salary, we were kind of, working class, right? Maybe working class financially. And
Yeah.
so this idea, entrepreneurship, was never a word that ever crossed my world until I was doing it, because they don't teach it in school in Podunkville, Pennsylvania, or kind of
Yeah.
anywhere. And so there's a level of friction that you experience when you're a little bit of that odd duck. Because
Yeah.
I sometimes don't know where the free spirit, like go be an entrepreneur person came from out of my upbringing. And that's where I'm like, you're saying things that sound very familiar. And how did you meet that friction is what I really want to know.
So back in Africa, my father was an entrepreneur. He was a businessman back then. Come to this country that was all shut down. So everyone worked. And so that spirit was there. And your question to how did I meet that friction? Is that correct?
Well, I'm sure you met friction. How did
Yeah.
you work through it, or what did you do to just say, I just got to do it anyway?
That was it. I mean,
Yeah.
because I have to do it. There was no, I wish I had like a story or, an epiphany or anything like that. It would just, I mean, I did get tired of just arguing. I got tired of just like, you know what? No matter what I do, it's just no matter what I do, an argument was going to get caused. We're going to get created. What I want to phrase it. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to get in trouble, if I'm going to create an argument, I might as well do an argument on something that I like to do anyways. Because think about it. If someone has told you you should do something their way and you don't align with it, it's not going to come out their way. So then you're going to argue about it.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So I'm like, well, if I'm going to get to argument, I might as well have fun while I get there and see what it is and kind of go from that. Because, and it's kind of weird because like I said, well, traditional. So speaking back to your parents was like, not me speaking back like being rude or disrespectful, but even questioning them, like the simplest thing was considered talking back and whatever. And I remember it was a basketball game and my dad changed the channel. It's a little bit of a quirky story, just kind of bear with me here. So it was a basketball game, the Sixers, and it was like they were down by 9. I'll never forget it. They were down by 9, and it was like 10 seconds left. And my dad was like, yeah, they're going to lose, and changed. I got upset. And I was like, how do you change the channel? He was like, they're going to lose. I'm like, you don't know that. And then my brothers were like, oh, shit, he's going to die right about now. Right? Because my dad was 6'4", 265. Like, my dad was huge. Like, so he's like, he's going to die. We're going to be 6 brothers, not 7 no more. And so just so my dad he was trying to prove me wrong. He said, okay, fine, I'll go back. He goes back. Sixers came back and win that game. Coleman shot 3 3-pointers within 9 seconds and came back tied and won the game. So when he came back and he saw that he won, I was like, see, Dad told you.
I was just going to say, did you hold your tongue or did you say what I know you probably said?
I was like, see, Dad, I told you. And they looked at me. My dad got upset at me. And I was just like, I remember sitting there, I'm just like, that's messed up. All I said was, how do you know? Like, I wasn't a smart, at least I don't think I was a smart ass. But still, then I was right. But I still got in trouble for it. Factually, it wasn't an opinion. It was a fact. The score was the score. And so I'm like, yo, no matter what I do, I'm going to get in trouble. I can't win. So for that, let's go.
And it's a funny, quirky little story, but it tells a lot, because to me, in this bigger picture or in the more substantial places where you push through friction, it feels like or sounds like to me that you gave yourself or you found permission in this idea of like, you're damned either way. So you might as well do the thing that feels right to you and that doesn't let you down.
Correct. There you go. That's the best way to put it. Because I said, no matter what's going to happen, what is going to happen is going to happen. And I could never be right. I'm the youngest of 7. I was always being compared to the older siblings who were much more book smarter than I was. You know, the whole putting the report card on the refrigerator, all that kind of stuff and everything like that. I'm like, all right, well, congrats to you. I don't want to do that. I want to go this path over here. So that's it.
Do you ever think that being the youngest of 7 is maybe why you're the little bit of the rogue?
I don't know. Only because, like I said, being youngest of 7, obviously we do have a, middle child syndrome also exists with the other sibling. And so I think the whole cultural thing is probably more involved in the road than anything else, because again, being first generation here, they not know what to do. And then my oldest brother kind of stepped in as my father figure, if you will. Like had to help me, the responsibility was put on him. I think that was just that. And then I was just kind of saw everything and I was like, you guys are telling me there's opportunity here, but you want me to find the opportunity. You want me to find the opportunity in this country that you said is now afforded to us, but you've never been exposed to it. So how do you know what the opportunity really looks like?
Yeah.
So your opportunity vision is just speculation, with all due respect. I'm living it.
I'm going to go prove it.
Yeah. Let me go show it and prove it. You may not like the path, but it's a path at least.
There was such a strong instinct there. And I'm curious how, because this is all formative years, younger year stuff. Fast forward, you've got this whole portfolio of businesses. And, we know a whole lot of stuff happened in between there. But I'm curious on how did you practically start when it came time to following your instincts and leaning into that opportunity to start building without all of the resources that a lot of people have?
So when that bank job, the one that I said I got passed over right when I first started. So during that, I was a manager as well. And I had my staff would say, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Like, you're a great salesman. I'm like, I'm not a salesman. I don't like to sell. And they're like, that's why you're so good, Navid. They're like,
Mhm.
you don't sell, you tell. You tell a story about whatever it is you're passionate about, and that makes me want to buy it or learn more about it. And so, um, I again, that when I was passed over that promotion, that was a really big thing. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I can't keep doing this. Let me just go dig into something. And then real estate was something that I just kept talking about over and over again. It was brought to my attention, and when I was 17, 18, kept bringing my attention. I kept running away from it. So when I was 30 years old, that's when I decided. I was 30 years old. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get into this. And actually, semi funny story. A really good friend of mine was tired, so tired of me talking about real estate, that for my 30th birthday, he bought me the real estate class.
That's a good friend right there. That's
He
either a
said,
good friend or a bad friend. I'm shutting you up. Who knows?
"Yeah, yeah, who knows, right?" So, and he goes like, it was like the best $600 he ever spent, right? So he was like, "Hey, listen," he was like, "Shut up, bro. I'm tired of you talking about this thing. Just go get your damn class, go get your licenses, and get done." And that was it. And I have always been someone who just goes, burn the boats.
Yep.
Burn the boats and just go into it. And so I just I started in real estate. So I got into that, and then ran into a guy looking at a property. He said he needed some help. I needed some money. So I said, I'll be your assistant. I became his assistant. And then he screwed me over. You know, it was time for payday. Our verbal agreement was I would get paid on a monthly basis. The whole first month went by and it was time to get paid. And he legit for 4 or 5 days disappeared, went on vacation. I didn't get paid. And so I kept going, showing off. He never told me he went away. I kept going into the office looking for, like, hey, where's the check? Where's the check? Where's the check? And I'm like, go to the front desk. I'm like, hey, where's he at? And they're like, oh, he's gone. He's on vacation. It's like, okay.
With my money.
With my money. And I'm married. I just got married at the time. So my wife and I, like, I have no income, single income from her. And we're trying to start a family and all this stuff. I'm just like, okay, I'm embarrassed. I don't know what to tell her, because we're holding down 2 jobs while I was living this dream of being an entrepreneur. And then the guy comes back from vacation and he goes, and I confront him, like, hey man, where's my check? And he was like, what check? I'm like, well, we agreed upon this. And he was like, oh, you think you deserve it? I'm like, well, yeah, here's what I did. He's like, well, what you don't know is I had to stay up and make all these corrections to your reports every single night. Why didn't you tell me? If I was screwing up, why didn't you tell me? And he was like, yeah, no, I left. So now I have no job. And by the way, I was living an hour and 15 minutes away. So I was commuting every single day, an hour and 15 one way.
Oh,
And I
jeez.
was using credit card to credit card to credit card for gas and tolls,
Yes.
stuff
Yep.
like that. Yep. And that first payday never happened. Never happened. And it's just one of those things where I was like, never going to let this happen to anybody else. So that I worked harder and smarter. And I just started talking to everybody about real estate that I could talk to. That was it.
There you go. There's a few things I want to point out here for those of you who are listening. Whether it's entrepreneur, whether it's finding the right W-2, by the way, I love that. I'm going to start calling it that. Whether it's finding the right W-2 fit for your values, whatever it is, this is not a linear type of thing to get to this like life of freedom, because you get to define it. But sometimes you got to go through the positives, the negatives, and take some hits to figure out what you want that freedom to look like. There is a certain level of risk you have to be able to entertain, because especially in this you building the freedom for yourself, it's uncharted territory, right? There is no ladder. There are no clear steps. It's a little bit of trial and error, which comes with, some failures that become learning experiences.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I can't, if I had given up when he didn't pay me, if I said this is BS, I'm going to go back to my job.
Yep.
Right. Had I stopped the first time when I lost, 10 grand on a deal, when I had lost whatever, if I stopped every single time I got kicked, I would have never, nowhere, you and I would not be talking.
And you would be working of all things in a bank, which is like, feels like it's just like the nail in the coffin of the death, right? Bad enough to have a W-2, let alone be in a bank.
No,
Sorry, all you bankers out there.
no, and it's the funny. So when I left the bank, I did this, and I had to go back for a funeral. A buddy of mine had passed away, and I walked into the branch, and I was like, and one gentleman there, his name was Brian. I was like, Brian, did you guys change the lights in here? He was like, no. I was like, did you guys paint the walls? He was like, no. He said, why are you asking these questions? I'm like, it looks so dark in here. I said, looks. He was like, it was like this when you were here. I was like, holy shoot. You guys are
I just know what the sun looks like now.
Yeah. And I was like, this is depressing. This is what we were subjected to for the 5, 6, whatever years I was here. I'm like, and and it was a tough spot still, financial, I was still struggling. I talked to two bankruptcy attorneys in my first 10 years of being self-employed, because I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, and anyway, so I'm like, what's my struggle? Is my struggle going to be how to pay these bills? Or is my struggle going to be, I'm coming into these 4 walls in this dark environment? Pick your struggle, Navid. Pick your struggle. Which struggle do you want?
I love that. I love that idea. Pick your hard. Pick your heart.
Yeah.
I'm a CrossFitter, and they had a marketing campaign for a while that was hard choices, easy life, easy choices, hard life. Pick your struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to regret 30 years from now? You're going to regret the 4 walls that gave you stability and safety, or are you going to regret having life and seeing how far you can push yourself, which is what I think is so amazing about the struggles that came in the not easy road. It ended up being worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I could go on and on about that, but it's just, no matter what you are, whether you're, W-2, self-employed, whatever the case may be, there's always going to be a struggle. You just got to pick which one at the end of the day is going to align with you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something in here that there was something in just all of your I love this. I love storytelling. I love it. Because it's so easy to learn and pick up little nuggets. But something that came to mind as you were talking is that there's a bias for action in kind of how you approach and how you've always approached this idea of like, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to find out. I'm going to do what I can do with the resources that I have, and I'm going to act versus overthink.
Yeah.
What would you say to the people out there who are overthinking?
I mean, I could be cliche and say just do it, which is the truth. Okay, it is the truth, but what's the best way to put this? I would say something along the lines of, okay, it's a discussion you have to have within yourself. Number one, okay, the discussion will go something like, all right, I'm scared to do X. Well, why are you scared to do X? And then boom, boom, boom. Write it down. And then look at what you wrote down and just write the opposite of what you wrote down the other side. Right? I'm scared to do this because I might fail. So what's the opposite of fail? Pass.
I see. Yep.
Right? And then I'm scared I'm going to go broke. What's the opposite of broke? Rich, wealthy, whatever. And then write whatever your fears are. And then the opposite of your fear, write it next to it. And if that doesn't get you excited, then you're not looking at the right thing. You have to, when you see that and that starts getting excited, you're good to go.
That's good.
Good to go. That's something
that's really good.
That's something I teach or whatever. Like, hey, listen, write down your fears. What's the opposite of it?
Yeah.
And that's definitely get you excited. Definitely.
I like this even better because one of the things I usually walk people through is like, it's similar, but I like this so much more is what's the worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario is I leave this bank. This guy doesn't pay me. I come back to the bank. Is that you dying a slow and painful death? Yeah, maybe. But also you can then just try again, right? So, but I like this because it puts it in the positive and it gets you really in that, like, what if?
Yes.
What if you succeed?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, right? And a lot of us, it's very simple to, and I say, you have a brain and mind. A brain is physical. The mind is what you make of it, right? Make up your mind, right? So if your mind is you, well, make that up. What kind of mind do you want? Do you want a positive mind or a negative mind? Well, if you say it out loud, well, I want a positive mind. But do you? Are you
And are
willing
you
to what it
willing to
takes? Are you
do it?
willing to take? Yeah, is you're gonna finish my sentence. You're gonna finish my sentence. Are you willing to do what it takes to get to that positive mind?
Yeah. There is proven and there's great books on this. If maybe we'll drop some in chat. There is proven science about a positivity mindset versus a negativity mindset, about scarcity versus abundance. And what I think is so incredible throughout all of this is even at times of scarcity, you remained committed to saying, I'm going to find abundance at the end of this.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there was times I did want to give up. The times I questioned myself,
Yeah.
like, yo, this is what am I doing? Like, why am I putting myself through this so much over here? And then I'm sure you've heard, what's your why? What's your why? What's your why?
Mm.
I've always questioned my why just to make sure it's authentic, right? And
Yeah.
if it adjusts, that's fine if it adjusts. But every time I went through a hardship of something, I was like, why am I doing this? I was like, okay, it's those four walls. Do you want to go back to those four walls? Do you want to get passed over again
Mhm.
do you want to get called at 2 o'clock in the morning because you're doing a system upgrade? Do you want to deal with that employee who wants to request off and you always got to say no here? So like all those things is kind of like, no.
Yeah, you're choosing your struggle. And
Yep.
for those of you who may be new to this podcast, I've talked about the following story before, but I have to steal thunder for a second and share it because it emphasizes your point. I founded my company, which bought us a house 3 months after we went bankrupt. Yeah. And
Wow.
and we went bankrupt because of a business deal gone south that has nothing to do with what I do now. But essentially, a business made us go bankrupt and almost came close to ruining our lives, ruining my marriage, and leaving me with absolutely nothing, let alone no dignity. Right.
Mm.
3 months later, founding the best thing that I have ever done. And so while sounds very tropey of Phoenix Rising and Overcomer, there is some legitimacy to this idea of finding abundance despite scarcity.
Oh, absolutely. Your story right there. I bet you if you're first time listener to this podcast, and if you say, to my opinion, is if you say, Angie, that's just you. Like you're lucky with that. I challenge the person who thought that, saying, how many times have you said that to somebody else? Oh, that's just them. They're lucky. There's a lot of lucky. There's a lot of lucky people out there, I guess. Then no.
Yeah. And guess what? Well, bankrupt ain't lucky. It's really expensive and really demoralizing. So
Exactly.
there you go. And also then you're going to go help people with careers after just going through financial ruin. Like, hello, irony. It is there. There's a quote who it took, somebody that says it took me like 7 years to get lucky or something like that. Right.
Oh
Like
yes,
it's basically like luck equals hard work.
yeah. The one I love is from Usain Bolt. I practiced. I'm gonna probably mess up the numbers. I practiced 9 years to run 7 seconds every 4 years, once every four
Yep.
years, something like
Yeah.
along whatever. I was like, damn.
Yeah. It really puts it in perspective about what happens if you can persevere, build resilience. There's a certain level of grit that comes with all of this. And I would be curious. We talked a little bit about like the perspective on failure and
Mhm.
failing forward. What what do you think about failure now versus, Navid 10, 20 years ago?
10, 20 years ago, I would be failure as in my life's over, the sky is falling. Where now I don't look at failure at all. I say challenge, right? So it means like, okay, this is my next challenge, right? So if I look at something and I find a lot of difficulties, I'm like, oh, I should say never, but I do my best not to say, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. What I say is, okay, this is the challenge in front of me. How do I overcome it?
Yep.
That's it. And then if those steps to overcome it are something I'm willing to put myself through, I'll do it. If it's not, then I won't. Because I know
So
there's so much opportunity out there.
and it sounds like it's calculated to an extent, but it still again has that bias for action behind it.
Oh yeah, I have wasted. So I'm 50 years old as I do this interview. I can tell you that I wasted too much of my life. Like I said, I was 30 when I got my real estate license, right? So, which is more than half my life. Think about that. So I
Mhm.
wasted, loosely term, not taking action,
Ooh,
right?
ooh. Okay. We're going to give everybody some advice out there.
Let's go.
What do you say to that person who's 50 and has been playing it safe for so long? Right? What do you say to them when they're caught between somebody out there who's listening is going, oh crap, these two are talking to me. I'm mediocre and I'm playing it safe. And I have this leap I want to take, or I think I want to make the leap and I'm stuck between safe and risk. What do you say to them?
You have more years behind you than you have in front of you. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
Best time to plant a shade tree was 20 years ago. Second best time, right now.
Find the lie. Find the lie in that statement.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
No?
You can always go back, but you can't ever go forward. And I didn't try the thing is not on, or I tried the thing and failed is not on that book that's the 7 regrets of the dying or whatever it is.
Yep.
Nobody regrets trying the thing. They regret not trying the thing. Don't be that guy.
Yeah. There's no magic. I think a lot of people want, like, what's your secret? What do you do? Do you go at 4:00 and take a cold bath and plunge? No, I don't. Yes. Do I get up early? Yeah. Why? Because I know if I wait too long, it's just going to get bulked up in the day. Like, and you don't get up early just like one day. If you do, great. But to me, it was like a process. I was like, okay, snooze for like the first 4 days. Snooze. And then, okay, stop snoozing, get up. Angie, I swear to goodness, when I promised myself to get up early, the process was, okay, you're gonna start getting up at 4:30 in the morning. It took me a week to just stand up in the bed for the first week, just to get up at 4:30, for example. Mm-hmm. Then I was like, okay, back to sleep. And then like 3 weeks later, I finally physically got out of the bed, put my feet on the floor and start walking up. I think a lot of people have that thing, whether you're 50 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old, and you're watching this and you're thinking, I'm too old to do it. I'm too young to do it. I'm not financially set. I'm a guy, I'm a girl, I'm this, I'm that, whatever. You just have to do it if you truly want it. If you don't want it, then don't do it. It is that simple. You are complicating it.
Yo, overthinker. Don't be an overthinker.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. You can find a million reasons not to. All you need to do is find the 1, 2. Yeah. And kind of lean into that. You talked a little bit about habits. And so I kind of am curious, what are some of the kind of habits early rising, good on you. I was a 5 a.m.er for a while and then afforded myself the adult bedtime of 10 p.m. to get up at 6 a.m. a year ago. And it's pretty wonderful, but that was a choice I made. What are some of the other things that you've kind of adopted that have been really beneficial in balancing all of these, the taco trucks and all the things?
So one thing I've tried to a couple of things. So number one, I don't use the word balance. I've kind of admitted that for my thing. And I use harmony. Right. And I tell people look, there's certain days you got to have 100% to this. Some days 100% that. It is what it is. If you try to look for 50-50 in balance,
never going to happen.
Good luck with that. It's not going to work. So I use the word harmony, not balance. That's one. Number two, it is time management, right? So like you alluded to one of my programs, MDTA, which is mindset, discipline, time management, and action. The time management piece is very, very important. So because I revolve my job around my life as a person, vice versa.
Yes.
I basically try to do my best where 11 a.m. I start my day, 3 p.m. I end my day, Monday through Thursday. So Monday is my business resolutions for all businesses. I do a review. Boom, 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 all the businesses. That's Monday. Tuesday is real estate. Wednesday is automotive, basically. And then Thursday is food. Taco trucks or whatever, stuff like that. And then Friday is for me. Those are mine. Boom, 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 boom. And that's really about it. Is it perfect? No. Does it work? Absolutely. There's days where my Tuesdays become a Wednesday and vice versa. That's fine. It happens. It is what it is. But to me, if you at least have some sort of template that this is what I want to do, it gives you a guideline to at least follow.
Yeah. I kind of want the tacos to be on Tuesdays, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know. I know we all do stuff like that, but yeah.
And you're all always gonna have a fire to put out, but it's nice to feel like there is some sort of of structure in there, because the big thing is you and I share the Fridays off, which was the best thing I ever did to myself in business, was have no meetings on Fridays, to have 3 weeks to focus on me, go play outside and all the things so that I'm ready to go on Monday again.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I mean, Fridays, I have the gym every day, 9 to 10, and then I start my day at 11 o'clock on Fridays. Come 11 o'clock, I mean, I'll have some emails here. Don't get me wrong and stuff like that to
Yeah.
do, but for the most part, no meetings. Like you said, no meetings on Fridays. Nothing unless obviously it has to be done. I get it, but for the most part, it's blocked out. Fridays, no meetings. That's it. I
Yeah.
go do my afternoon prayers at 1 o'clock. From 1 to 3, I'm there, and leave me alone. No phone, no nothing. Phone stays in the car. That's it.
Turn off time is so important. But the big thing I want to go back to is
Yeah.
when you were talking through your routine and the kind of schedule cadence that you've set for yourself. One, I'm a huge fan of omitting the word balance from the vocabulary, because that is an elusive thing that you're never going to find. However,
Right.
if you focus on integration and harmony, and you think about it as an orchestra, sometimes the strings are really loud and sometimes the woods are really loud, but it all comes together and sounds really, really nice in the end.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But if you can get yourself to start where you are, you'll never know where you go.
No, and that's what I was actually going to touch on. So I'm glad you said that, the whole perfect thing.
Yeah.
I think the initial conversation, right? The analysis paralysis, the overthinkers and stuff. I think that pursuit of perfection is part of why you are paralyzed.
Yes.
Because we automatically think, oh, well, if it doesn't go this way, well, then forget, I'm not going to do it at all.
Yep.
No, that's not the case. It'd be nice if it went this way, but if it doesn't, at least you said you tried it and you did it, and you can adjust or whatever, kind of go from there. But I think, my personal opinions, I think some people hide behind that perfection.
Yes, they do.
They hide behind it and they use that excuse. Well, no, it didn't go this way, so it wasn't meant to be. I'm like, it's just, you've never done it before. So if you've never done this before, how do you know what to expect?
Yeah. How do you even know what's perfect?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And I think we talk a lot about perfectionism around here because it is more of a procrastination technique than it is a positive personality attribute.
I never thought about that. That's awesome. That's actually really good.
It's a really, really good crutch. And ultimately, building this, let's say this life of freedom, which I also think is an important word to define for yourself. What does that mean for you? For Navid, it means having a schedule that he likes, Fridays off, being able to focus on family. For me, I totally agree that it's like building the life you want and making sure that your work and your vocation harmoniously layers above that. But the big thing I want to point out, and that was the theme throughout this whole conversation, is that it will not come if you don't act. And waiting for permission or for perfection is just going to make you stay exactly where you're at. So whether you're sitting on an idea, you're afraid to take the leap, you're that person stuck between leap and playing small, and you're just tired of it. This is the kind of stories that prove you don't need everything to start. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to use what you've got, focus on an abundance mindset, and make a move.
Yeah, make that move. I mean, your question was, what's freedom? Freedom for me is being there when my kids need me. That was my version of freedom. Doctor's appointments, school appointments, after school activities, before, whatever, field trips. That was my version of freedom. And I think sometimes we see freedom as in, I just want to do whatever I want, whenever I want to do it. Okay. But how do you get there? You don't get there, just wake up one day, say, okay, here's how I have it. What's the work on something to work on the process, at least to get started. But I'm guilty personally of using someone else's definition of freedom and making it mine.
Ooh.
Right. And that's how I knew that I wasn't living my why.
Yep. That's not, I'm a huge fan of authenticity. That's not authentic to you. It's correct. Authentic to them, and neither one is right or wrong. But what's right for somebody else may not be right for you. And you owe it to yourself to find out what that is.
Yep. Trial and error. Trial and error. For the longest time, Angie, I would always say, for like, I'm doing this for my kids, I'm doing this for my wife, I'm doing this for my kids, da, da, da. At the end of the day, I'm like, no, I'm doing it for me.
That's the best why you can have.
Yep, I'm doing it for me. Yes, I can go provide for them, working as a manager at a store or whatever, making this amount of money, stuff like that. But I don't want to. I want to provide for them in this manner. So I'm doing this for me. And it took me a long time to be okay with that. Very long time to be okay with that. Once I became okay with that and actually like embraced it, it was like. It just took off.
And here's the thing I found about that. I think it takes a while to become okay with that because it is perceived, societal norm, as being selfish to put yourself first. However, you can't fill from an empty cup. And if you're not prioritizing yourself and fulfilling yourself and energizing yourself, you're not the person that you want to be for everyone else around you. And so by serving yourself, you actually serve others better.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And the struggle for me was selfish versus self-care.
There you go.
That was a huge, huge struggle on how do I define that without, upsetting other people in my close circle. Like, how do I do this without upsetting them? Because I did that myself. I put the expectation of me of how I should be there for you instead of you accepting how I am going to be there for you.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a huge struggle, selfish versus self-care. So I know so many people who struggle with that today. And that's if they can kind of get that figured out, that little piece there, other things, in my opinion, other things will start falling in place.
And that's another piece where we've talked about this idea of giving yourself permission. That's another place where giving yourself permission to put self-care over selfishness can really make a difference to then looking at the whole picture of risk and freedom and reward a little bit differently, but you've got to allow yourself to do the things.
Yeah. And to your comment of the awards, you have to understand you're not going to get a gold medal every single time or first place every single time.
Yep.
Right? You may have to settle for bronze. That's okay.
You might just not get the trophy. Unlike millennials who are used to a 12th place trophy, like, hey, we had 1, 2, 3 ribbons, people. We didn't even have trophies. All right. Let alone a 12th place one. So
yeah, exactly. 12th place trophy. Oh my, that's hilarious. Oh my God.
It's hilarious and it's true. So this has been, I love, there's so many little tidbits of inspiration and just good wisdom here. And I know all of you out there are thinking. And so Navid, how does everybody stay in touch with you and learn more from you and all of the things that you have to put out into the world?
So I'm really big on Instagram and TikTok. You can find me there. Their handles @thenavidmoosa.com or the Navid Moosa rather. Website's navidmoosa.com as well. I've got a lot of free videos on real estate investing that are there. It's all free game, as my son says. It's all free game that's out there. So feel free to take advantage of it. I do have some courses. I just launched my subscription-based services where you can get essentially, if you're a W-2er, and what I say is this: if you're a 9 to 5 and you want to have a 5 to 9, I got you covered. If you want your 5 to 9 to replace your 9 to 5 in real estate, I got you covered over there as well. So yeah, definitely check it out. But that's it. And if you do send me a DM, I answer. No bot. I actually answer myself.
Yes, that makes 2 of us.
Yeah.
I have loved this so much. It was just fun. Background story I didn't give y'all. Navid and I actually met in person at an event a few months ago. And it's always really fun to come and have this conversation and get to know people that you met in real life, but didn't get to deep dive with and find out how much common ground there is. So I'm so appreciative of you and you coming and storytelling and sharing your wisdom and being vulnerable with us today so we can inspire everybody out there to have no more Mondays and no more Fridays.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the invite. I had so much fun. I just love the name of it. So when I saw No More Mondays, I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure what it's about, but I can get behind that. I was like, let's do it. Yeah,
that was the whole goal. And to all of you out there, I want to remind you, you don't need a perfect plan. You don't need have all the answers. You just need kind of that one resource, an idea, a skill, a connection. Maybe it's Navid or I. Because you might already be sitting on that thing and you just need to find the courage to make the move. So my challenge to all of you is to stay in touch with Navid and I, because we're going to give you that courage. But I want you to find one place in your life this week where you can flip from scarcity mindset to abundance. Maybe you have to go make that list that Navid told you about and take action. Whether it's finding the resources, whether it's DMing Navid and I, because you know the 2 of us are actually going to be humans together. Whatever we can do to help you get one step closer to no more Mondays and no more Fridays, we are here for you. I'm Angie Callen. This has been No More Mondays. Navid, thanks again for showing us what it means to build a bold, freedom-filled life. And thank all of you for listening. I'll catch you next week for another episode of No More Mondays.
Thank you, Angie. This was a great time. Great fun.